So for those of you who are lucky enough to be heading off for a break, it's worth a look at some of the country's beauty spots that you can visit this holiday. Travel journalist Motylska joins me now to talk about this. Iga, good morning. Thanks for your time. Lovely to have you. Often we travel abroad, right, to be dazzled by a new experience and breathtaking international sights. And we forget that South Africa has so many wonders to explore that may rival those experiences. The tourism numbers confirm how many people simply can't wait to get to South Africa to experience its unique beauty. Over 7.5 million visitors last year, reflecting an impressive increase of 51.8% compared to the previous year. What makes South Africa unique?
I think that South Africa is a whole world in a single country. And Iman, you're absolutely right in that it's so diverse. There's so much that you can see and explore and do. Of course, it boasts 8 major biomes. We've got that beautiful, iconic fynbos of the Cape Floral Kingdom. We've got grasslands of the Highland. And of course, we're also familiar with that beautiful stark beauty of the Karoo Desert. And so I love that each of our biomes offers something completely different, from landscapes to like wildlife experiences, a little bit of adventure and luxury all rolled up into one. And of course, if you want to do a road trip, we've got such spectacular coastlines. And I just love the idea that within a few hours or within a day, you could be driving along our beautiful coastlines along the Cape. Then you can encounter towering mountains, lush rainforests, our semi-arid deserts of the Karoo. It's really an entire world all wrapped up into a single country. And we've got such lovely and friendly people too. And I think it's that welcoming nature that invites travelers and tourists from around the world to explore Mzansi.
You know, as you're saying all of this, I'm just longing to get straight out of the studio, you know, into an off-road vehicle and just head to some of those places that you're talking about, because they are certainly magical. So people are moving about, and in the interest of economy as well, families are traveling in their vehicles. So what are some of the best routes for a road trip?
Gosh, there are so many. And I guess it also depends on, where you're located and where you're starting from. But I must say that the garden route is by far one of my favorites. And now that I'm based in Cape Town, I'm definitely taking the opportunity to explore little snippets of it along the way. And of course, we know it's a 300-kilometer stretch that outlines the coastline between Mossel Bay and the Storms River. You've got lovely little towns and villages and dorpies in between, from George and Wilderness to Knysna. Plet, of course, is really popular these days, and Nature's Valley as well. And I love that the landscape is characterized by these densely knit, emerald-colored forests. You've got those wild coastlines and that endless country charm, of course, if you go further inland. You've also got one of the country's smallest wine routes just outside of Plettenberg Bay as well. So there's so much to explore there. One of my favorite places, of course, is Garden Route National Park. And for someone who loves adventure, you can go and do a 2.5-hour kayaking little trip up the Storms River. And I really felt like that a whole different world emerged as we kayaked along the ocean. And of course, you go through that ocean spray deep into the gorge. You're looking up, you're peering at these crevices. We watched marine birds circle overhead. And of course, dassies were hopping between the rocks. And it's so fascinating to see the river current mixing with the ocean as well. It's sort of like this ebb and flow. It's sort of like a dance of nature and the environment. And that was so wonderful.
Yeah.
Of course, if you want to step foot back on, on ground, you've got Tsitsikamma indigenous rainforest. So many beautiful walks and hikes there. You can also do a zip lining experience there. So they've got 10 different zip lines across 11 platforms. The longest one is 100 meters. And of course, you can control how fast or how slowly you want to go. But if you don't brake, you can go up to about 40 kilometers an hour. So that's really quite an adrenaline thrill.
Yeah.
And it gives you a completely different perspective. You're standing on this treetop canopy, looking out 30 meters below. You can see the yellow otwiniquas. And of course, some of them are over 700 years old. Hopefully you'll also see a Nizhna Luri, an Arena Trogan. So I just love the fact that there's so much to do. And for people who love hiking, of course, there's the Otter Trail, which is one of our most famous hikes. There's the bungee from the Storms River Bridge. There are lovely foodie destinations along the way, whale watching during the season in Nizhna. There's really just so much to do along the garden route.
It's no wonder you're so adept at painting these pictures for us. You are a travel writer as well, and it really sounds wonderful and so diverse, the experiences that you could have right here at home in South Africa's beauty spots. I wanted to ask about affordability. So the range of experiences that are available for South Africans, we know that money is a factor for a lot of families. If economy is a factor for a lot of families. Is there enough of a spectrum of offerings for those who might just want to sit somewhere beautiful and pack a picnic basket with their children, as opposed to those activities that cost a lot of money? And you were talking about ziplining earlier. I did the Arabi Gorge one. It was absolutely fantastic and exhilarating. And my mom, who is in her mid to late 70s, a few years ago also went ziplining in the KwaZulu-Natal Midlands. So it is accessible even if you're a little bit older.
Yes, absolutely. I took my aunt along and she has a fear of heights. And after the fact, not before, she told me that she was so pleased that she actually did it. But coming back to your original question, I think that's what I love about South Africa. And I feel very privileged in the work that I do. I've managed to travel to 48 different countries around the world on my own back, and sometimes on assignment for work or writing guidebooks, for example. And I must say, what I love about South Africa is you definitely get bang for your buck. And besides different kinds of activities, paid for activities that you can do, there are so many beautiful naturescapes and parks and national parks that you can visit. Of course, I love the fact that the South African government, especially in partnerships with SANParks, is trying to prioritize that by giving us preferential rates, of course, when we go to any of our national parks around the country. Lovely that SADC and some of our closest neighbors also get preferential rates. But I definitely encourage people, when they are traveling somewhere, to go and have a look at national parks or lookout points or picnic spots. And I think it's also about being surrounded by people that we love and we care for. And as you say, packing a picnic basket and just spending quality time with them. What I love about many of these like road tripping destinations and road trip routes is that there are so many laybys where you can just stop, pack out your blanket, have a picnic, enjoy those beautiful views. So I think South Africa definitely lends itself towards that.
When you said lay-by, I mean, I'm thinking about it in the South African experience, which is, you know, put away, lay away for a holiday. But I know you had something else in mind. Just to close, it is important to note the key contribution that African tourists make. I think they're the majority of the arrivals, over 5 million. 5.7 million arrivals, and that's a massive growth compared to 2022 as well. Then you've got your Europe visitors, over 1 million tourists. You've people from North America, from Central and South America, thousands from Australasia and from the Middle East and so on, and from Asia. So a diverse community of visitors. What overall tops the list for visitors? Is it always Kruger National Park in Cape Town?
I would say for the most part, yes. So one of my jobs, I guess, is trying to educate them about all the wonderful places that they can see beyond Cape Town and on the way there, perhaps. And you're absolutely right. Those are kind of like the jewels in our crown. They're very popular. And so I think as people in travel and tourism, what we're trying to do is we're trying to encourage them to say, do you know that you could do a 2-day road trip up the West Coast, for example, which is not necessarily as popular. But yeah, I think, you know, because there's just so much that you can see and do. And I think especially in terms of Cape Town, you've got everything. You've got the mountain, you've got the ocean, you've got spectacular foodie destinations and the vineyards, lots of art and culture and all of that. So I really do find that many people come to Cape Town for a week or two and they feel that they have such a full experience, that they get to do so much. And I'm quite lucky in that I always get to meet tourists and ask them about some of their experiences, and they're in awe and they can't wait to return. And so I think as citizens and as individuals working perhaps in travel and tourism, you know, our responsibility, I guess, is to encourage them to have the best time possible, to welcome them, to be helpful.
Absolutely. Listen, good luck, Iga. Thank you for the work that you're doing in making it more popularized and popular. South Africa's beauty spots. Appreciate the chat today. Again, have a blessed holiday tomorrow. Iga Motylska, who is a travel journalist, guidebook author, and editor of eagerjourneys.com. Just talking about where you can go if you're in the car and you want to go somewhere nice.